he's built Kerr Capital into one of Australia's most respected voices, mentoring over 700 business owners. Michael Kerr, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Tracy.
What do you define as a successful exit from your business?
If you can adapt to life after a business, you get what was available at the time and you can go on and be engaged and happy in doing whatever is in the next chapter. That's a good exit.
If a business owner listening right now is burnt out, what's the first thing you want them to hear?
If you're not behaving like you would expect yourself to be behaving, you're having a crack at people or family, or you just, get out there, don't keep it in.
Well, what's something you feel most people misunderstand about small business owners in Australia?
When you've been in the trenches as a small business owner or worked alongside them, you see the difficulties they have just keeping the place open, keeping the staff. I think people are pretty unforgiving.
Hello and welcome to the Real Biz Life Chronicles, where we discuss all things business, branding, and life. I'm your host, Tracy Fryer, the founder of Design Studio Perth. Now, as Design Studio Perth is dedicated to helping business owners grow with distinction through captivating branding and design, we're offering all our listeners a free brand discovery. So if you find yourself frustrated with your current brand, or you simply aren't sure what this branding thing is all about, use the link in the show notes below to book in a time to have a chat. Now, the Real Biz Life Chronicles is on a mission to become one of Australia's leading business podcasts. But in order to do that, we please need your help. If you do enjoy today's episode, and I have no doubt that you will, we please ask that you like and subscribe to our channels below, or simply share this episode with a fellow business owner who's perhaps going through a bit of a dip and needs some inspiration. My guest today walked away from Ernst & Young to sling hot dogs for a van called Dr. Dog. That move wasn't just wild, it was intentional. A signal that this guest wasn't going to follow the predictable path. Since then, he's built Kerr Capital into one of Australia's most respected voices on small business sales, mentoring over 700 business owners, and proving that exit planning isn't about leaving, it's about legacy. He is also the host of the Owner to Owner podcast, where real-world stories from Australian small businesses get the honest airtime they deserve. Ask anyone who knows him and you'll hear the same things: determined, considerate, and an explorer. He collects spoken word vinyls, knows his way around the kitchen, and is just as comfortable talking about golf as he is AXX. But this episode isn't about resume. It's about the mental, emotional, and financial layers of small business ownership, and why I guess believes the way we exit a business might matter even more than how we build it. This one's for anyone wondering what it really takes to step out of the unexpected path and build something that actually matters. Michael Kerr, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Tracy. Lovely to join you for this discussion.
Yes, thank you so much. Michael, I thought what might be best to kick us off, can you please share what exactly it is that you do?
Yeah, as the founder of Kerr Capital, which is 23 years in the making now, I work side by side with business owners. I've done a lot of traditional business broking, selling businesses, going through the process of preparing them. But in the last 5 to 10 years, I've really focused on two advisory services, particularly. One is the getting ready to sell part of it. So this is a few years out from when an owner ideally wants to sell. So I have a service offering that puts a line in the sand around what your business is worth tomorrow if you were to sell it, but assuming you have some years to plan it, or even some months. But there are always things you can do to make the business more sellable and more valuable, depending on the time frame. So that's a pre-selling diagnostic. And the other one, my other main service offering is there's a lot of, call it off-market business sales, where owners in industries get approached by their competitors, larger companies looking to aggregate, or sometimes, and often it's a key group of employees, see that the owner's nearing an age where they might want to think about exiting. So I usually in those scenarios work with the owner after they've gotten the call and they're thinking about what should I say, what shouldn't I say, or just what do I do? So I again work side by side and take them through that process to establish what they want out of this, and then how we can work up a transaction or a deal structure if it makes sense.
Michael, and I just want to commend you on 23 years of business. My goodness, I think it's absolutely amazing.
Yeah, look, it's yeah, there's a lot of long-standing business owners, and that sometimes they're generational. So yeah, it's great to be. Yeah, you need a certain level of determination and tenacity because there's always reasons to think about doing other things. But yeah, I'm very proud of that.
And what called you into business?
Well, honestly, into business broking, it was not very strategic. But
Hmm.
what I did a commerce degree, I did an MBA, I worked in accounting, banking, um, funds management, tech startup, in seniorish roles, and I just at the end of a tech startup experience from 99 to 2001, I was completely and utterly spent after putting everything I had of myself into this startup. But the common theme through those other experiences was, including the hot dog business, thank you for shouting
Yes.
out Dr. Dog, was a real interest in small business owners. How did that business,
Hmm.
I'd lent money to them, I'd advised them early days on tax. So it was there, and I thought I would explore business broking because the opportunity came about us, and but it's evolved, and it's very much on trying to help owners get the most out of their business,
Hmm.
and also a higher level is to see us with a much stronger small business economy, much more diversified, um, vibrant small business economy, which supports communities, it supports owners and families, it supports employees. So yeah, and it was the you would be the same. There's just so many great business owners out there
Oh,
doing
there is.
their own thing, their version of whatever it is they want to do, and they can all do with some advice, and they could probably all do things better, but they're out there, and they underpin a lot of communities and a lot of employment opportunities. So yeah, I just love owners and their story.
And Michael, there seems to be such a sense of passion. Everything I've read that you've shared, there's such a sense of passion to help small business owners. Has that always been a main driver?
Yeah, I think going into Kerr Capital, starting this thing, it was because I knew a lot of business owners, and I always enjoyed chatting to them about, even when I was in banking, um,
Hmm.
how did you start this? Why did you start that business? What sustained you? So yeah, it was, and it's evolved into, there's a lot of support for, big business looks after itself, government looks after,
Yes.
small business gets championed as the backbone of the economy,
Mm.
and they are, but there's a lot of other things that could be done to better support small business generally, and there's also a lot of things that small business owners could do if they're so inclined to make their businesses better for them, whatever.
Yeah.
They've all got different aspirations, so that's where it comes from. Seeing, it's a more like it's a very long term thing, but there's a lot of owners, but there's a lot of good advisors around as well. So I just
Yes.
like being part of that. I feel like there's when you can develop a relationship with an owner, you can influence them in a very positive way, and that sense of being able to do that is strong. Yeah.
Mm. And now I know we've spoken about Dr. Dog. Is
Mm.
there, on that 23-year journey, has there ever been another time where you've wanted to go do something else?
Uh, yeah, look, a couple of times I've had opportunities, to. I've worked closely with businesses, and I've toyed with going into into business with somebody.
Hmm.
But largely, at maybe a couple of times over the journey, I thought, wonder what it would have been like if I had taken that job at wherever. But I don't,
Yeah.
that's just a fleeting thing. But I think, yeah, I do have an interest in, I think an unfinished business is to buy a business. I really want
Yeah.
to buy a bit. I've started a few things,
Hmm.
but yeah, but no, mainly it's staying the course. I think that as you keep evolving what you want to do, and I can just see myself doing this in different ways for a long time yet. So
Hmm. And I imagine after 23 years, do you feel like this is your calling?
I do.
I'm always curious.
No, it's absolutely it feels stronger than ever actually
Oh,
in
wow.
some ways. Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah, and that's partly why excuse me, I launched the podcast,
Yes.
that because it's the opportunity to get in front of and talk with owners and
Hmm.
good advisors about their own business and their clients' businesses. So that, yeah, it just keeps it's not going away. There are things that I can do better, differently, and but I'm just really excited about uh, jumping into my studio office and getting on with it. So
Yeah.
there's a mountain of things I'd like to do.
And I just want to back up a sec. I know you mentioned earlier, you said there's a few things that I wasn't sure if you meant like communities can better support small business. And then there was a second part where you said there's a few things that small business owners could do better as well. Do you mind to walk us through that a bit?
Um, well, yeah, with the communities, there's a lot of, even in it's not necessarily. I'll come back to what the owner can. I think the
Yeah.
owner can do, but
Hmm.
with communities like even small communities in big metro areas, they have their local precinct and their local champion small businesses, and those owners, go through, they're part of the community. They go through a lot. But I think, there's a time when every owner needs to move on or wants
Hmm.
to move on. And I think about how those communities can keep supporting the business, but also, um, recognize that sometimes it might be up to the community to be the next someone in that community, or that community can even be the owner of that really important local business. So
Hmm.
there's a bit of activism around, mutual or cooperative ownership, employee ownership. Um, there, different models. Uh, if somebody in the community really, has the experience to take those businesses on, that's a sort of, thinking that I think we need to extend, because this um, starting a business, running it, and then selling it, it's a difficult, long process. And the
Definitely.
more
Hmm.
different options there are to transition that business with different ownership models, the better. And some of those will be, come from the community, like, putting aside all the training that could get done, which some of the professional advisors are doing a good job of, but and government support to educate owners more realistically about what they're involved, the better. But yeah, lots of
Hmm.
communities. On the owner front, their owners are, by nature really resilient and very, um, to get wherever they've taken some hits.
Yeah.
So I think some of them don't trust easily, and they're very self-sufficient, but also need to recognize that they don't bring everything they need, and to whether it's just running the business day to day, or even, coming up to exit, or changing the way the business operates. Um, it's on owners to seek out support, guidance from good advisors, other business owners, to
Hmm.
recognize that there are things that they could do differently and better. So, so it's not, there's both sides of it can make for better outcomes.
Hmm. I find in my own experience that seeking advice from an advisor has been like pivotal and fundamental and all of the above in my business.
Yeah.
I mean, I studied visual arts and have a graphic design diploma. They don't teach you this stuff at art school. So
Yeah.
I found it's really giving me that insight into the business side of things, the systems, the processes, all those things that they don't teach you at art school, right?
Yeah, well, or at trade school or at
Yeah.
university if you're going to go into
Mm.
practice or into a trade. That's some of the things that could be done because it's that very famous book by Michael Gerber, The E-Myth, which was written,
Mm.
but it still nails that core idea really well, which is people end up in businesses because they're good at whatever, but
Yeah,
that
their
doesn't make
passion
for
or
and it gets
mm.
them so far and may even be happy, but that you haven't been taught any fundamentals of how to better operationalize financial management. Am I actually creating a business of any value that can help with my personal financial situation? So yeah,
Yeah.
and also just paying, this idea of paying for good advice is, everything's about saving money, growing sales, but you just
Yes.
can't do it all.
Yes.
And
I'm glad you mentioned that because I come across so many business owners who are so close to the idea of, using a business advisor or consulting with someone because I think while they're resilient, we're very headstrong as well. And
mm,
they think they have to do everything on their own. And obviously, having worked with a coach and an advisor, I see the value that it adds. And I think it helps, speed up your growth process as well. So, why do you think it is some of them are so close to the idea?
look, I think it's the DNA to be an owner is you got to deal with a lot of, you have to deal with a lot of things. So maybe it's a false
Mm,
sense that I can manage that because I manage that, so I can manage that. Or maybe it's some blind spots, things go okay despite themselves. It's
mm,
but I had like a fascinating conversation with a gentleman who this is probably 15 years ago, and he had a business overseas, got wiped out by the avian bird flu, and it was a
right.
significant business. He
Mm,
emigrated to Australia and he ran a franchise business because he had to get, but his take on, was we've got a lot of owners here who he had a business where he was a business owner and that was all he did. He
right.
had staff, everything was about I'm the owner
Mm,
and here it was all his experience was there's a lot of owners that do everything themselves and they take all the
mm,
reward or they take all the hits, but the mindset of having a business where you have flexibility, you focus on the things that you're extremely good and outsource everything to
oh,
everybody else was a foreign concept. And I think it's you look at the numbers of small businesses in Australia, they're the whatever it is, 97% of all businesses are, but probably half. I can't do the maths that quickly, but there's
that's
a
okay.
lot that don't employ any. There's a lot of micro zero employee
Mm,
businesses, and there's a ton of 1 to 4 employee businesses,
yeah.
and so they're completely owner centric, owner dominant.
Mm.
Mm.
And I found when I started bringing on team, there's such a trust factor, right? Because it's like you giving them your baby and you say, here we go, like, please do right by it. But
Yeah,
sometimes it doesn't always work out that way. But I found it's been so empowering bringing on team, trusting, having that trust broken, of course. And, it's just part of it, right?
yeah. Well, yeah. I think that if you can bank that and
Mm,
be philosophical about that, you take it as well. I can do. I can employ better people if that's, but I
Mm,
can also do a better job of picking the right people and of
good
incenting them in the
point.
right way. So it's, yeah, but, it's never just their fault or just your fault. It's
No.
always, but if you can continually improve how and what, and how you do things, continuous improvement. It's a big business concept, but it's continual personal improvement in the way you
Oh,
do things.
definitely.
Mm.
I've said it before on the show. I think business will showcase or show all the cracks in every area of your life, the good, the bad, the ugly, the bold.
Yeah.
Nothing stays under the radar when you have a business.
Well, it's pretty hard. It's pretty hard to turn it off because
Mm,
that I don't know that many people who can. I, I think it's probably easier in a job to tune out,
yes.
turn your phone off. But
Mm,
I'm guilty of that. If somebody needs to chat to me and it's late or it's on the weekends, it's that's the boundaries are. It's it's hard when you feel that sense of personal
yes.
accountability. Not saying it's a good. I'm not saying it's a great thing, but it's kind of it is necessary to start to put in place some boundaries because it can be, and
Mm.
that's the challenge. It's all consuming and it's exciting and yeah, as you say, it pops up everywhere
It
in your
does,
life.
yeah. I found in the beginning, because obviously work from home, I had to really set like firm boundaries, like Tracy, business owner from, 8 till 5. And thereafter, when you go through the arch of the door, Tracy, Chihuahua mama and all these other things. Because I found I was relentless. Like I would just work
Yeah,
like, I'd get up at like, well, this is back in the days when I had really bad boundaries. Get up at 7, straight on my laptop, work till 11
yeah,
at night, just
yeah,
all over the show.
yeah,
But like you say, it's a process.
yeah. It's yeah, and it's an intoxicating one.
Mm.
And I mentioned this. I worked in this startup for 3 years, and um, we were just on a rocket ship, and
Yeah.
it was incredible what a bunch of people. There was a couple of founders, a couple of programmers. What you could achieve when
Mm.
you're totally everything else fell away, which is not healthy, right? So, but
Yeah.
for that time, you felt like this could be anything, and you put everything you've got, and you see, when it VC funded, so the money's going tick 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 tick. So
Mm.
today matters. This hour matters. I can get this deal done. That can give us 10K for the revenue, whatever it is.
Yeah.
It was just in, inspiring to see what a bunch of people aligned to something could achieve, but also big, realizing later that there's only so many years of that you can do. So
Mm.
and
So you guys did three
there's a
years of it?
cost. I did three
Yes.
years, and that was after doing my MBA part time.
Wow.
So by then I was, I had to restructure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And Michael,
yeah,
when you say there's a cost, do you mean obviously, that it impacts your family life, your health, there's all other aspects of life, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. It does. It's I mean, I'm sure everyone's got different capacities and different, but yeah, there's a toll. Like it's
Mm.
when it becomes so all consuming, and and sometimes you get some of that when you look back. Sometimes my lovely wife and kids were um, giving me a little reminders that when that was extreme, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't do that again. But the experience was phenomenal, was
Hmm.
professionally, but yeah.
Yeah.
So
And you're very lucky that your family stood by you because that doesn't always work out that way.
no, it doesn't. Um,
Mm.
and yeah, so that's fortunately that all kind of got back into balance, but it was a
Mm.
conscious decision then, and I think maybe part of wanting to do my own thing, where
Yes.
you get that, you know, you get that, everything's a trade-off, but at least you get that some more of that flexibility.
And a question I love to ask, do you believe balance exists?
Uh, yeah, but it's like for me, it's like this ball that the levels keep. Uh, for me anyway, like I feel like
Hmm,
it there is, and it's like it adjusts all the time. Um, so if you measure it on any one day, no.
hmm,
Over a period of time, yeah, I feel like it's kind of swishing around, but
sure.
there's some kind of sustain. But if I was burned out again, it wouldn't be. But I'm excited about what I do, and
Hmm.
not enough time in the day, but that's
No,
fine. I'm
never.
I'm okay with that. Mm.
Same. Michael, what's something you feel most people misunderstand about small business owners in Australia?
I think I think the economy is made up of a lot of small business owners in this other world, which is employees
Hmm.
and people, they didn't. So there's a lot of respect for the fact that people from everyone towards business owners, but I don't think there's a real um, sense of a good enough sense of what it's like to run a business day to day. And there's
Hmm.
so many of them that are so vital, cafe or pubs or accounting firms or and the challenges. Some of them brought on by the owner themselves, but other the that the expectation that goes for these sometimes humble small bit the expectations on
Hmm.
the small business and their staff is just it's not we should have high standards,
Yeah, of
but
course.
it's when you've been in the trenches as a small business owner or worked alongside them, you see the
Hmm.
difficulties they have just keeping the place open, keeping the
Yes.
staff. I think people are pretty unforgiving. Um,
Hmm.
so that without them, good, bad, or otherwise, we'd be a lot worse off.
Hmm.
So I'm
I
very
can.
biased towards the to supporting small business owners, supporting their businesses,
Hmm.
but also trying to get a peek inside of their world, what it's like to find staff every day to open your favorite bakery
Yes.
or meet all the other challenges of compliance and cost competition.
All of
It's
that.
it's a lot going on.
There's so much. And it's funny you say that because I obviously now, I've always freelanced, but started Design Studio Perth in July 2020. And I got a whole new perspective on what it's like having your own business. And I actually bumped into my last boss. And I said to him, I said, I have to apologize. I never realized just how hard it actually is. When you're employed, you think, yeah, get the 8 till 4:30, off I go, switch off and do my own thing. And you think, oh my gosh, why is my boss acting like such an asshole or whatever?
Yeah,
But
yeah,
you realize the weight that a business owner carries, whilst it's very rewarding, there's those constant challenges every day. You constantly paying something. You feel like you're bleeding money at times. You've got the stress, you've got the sales, the team. So I actually said to him, I'm so sorry. I now fully understand where you were coming from. So he was really good about it though. But yeah, it's a completely different perspective once you're in the trenches, right?
yeah. And it's a good reflection back, positive reflection back to
Hmm.
based on your own experience. Yeah, it's it. I'm sure he was he smiled or she smiled, whatever.
He
Yeah.
did, yes, because it was a very dramatic exit because
All
I,
right.
I'd always had a freelance business and I think I just needed that sign to go out on my own. I tried 10 years ago, but I don't think I had the maturity or the experience or the grit to kind of do it.
Yeah.
And there was just a buildup of things, prayed for a sign, got it. And I just said, Rodney, I'm done. And he held the space really well. But again, I just had such a different perspective when I was employed. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's been a
Yeah.
big lesson.
Yeah. And it's yeah that it's that divide. Or divide's pretty strong, but
Mm,
between securely employed and then you see it a lot in. I live in regional Victoria now, and
Mm.
the expectations on. I love these businesses that say we're going to open when it suits us, and
Yeah.
um, or it's too expensive to open on a public holiday, and
Yeah.
everyone gets shirty. Well, that's so you can't come down on the weekend and expect everything to be like it is in yeah, urban Melbourne.
No.
So there's
Yes.
there's a sense of how hard is it, and well, it is. It's actually hard. So
Mm.
you could yeah. There's that divide that's we need to bridge by a bit better understanding of what it's really like, and
Mm.
then getting owners maybe to or a new, the big opportunity is to get the next generation of owners in, and maybe they'll run it the way they want to run it, which is more attuned to tourists, for example. That's just
Mm.
a simple example.
Yeah. Michael, you've mentored over 700 business owners, which again is amazing. What's the most common emotional block that keeps them stuck?
Um, a lot of those owners were owners that were thinking about selling. There's been many others that um, uh, have I've worked with on sort of different engagements, but
Mm.
the uh, the there's a few things at an emotional level. I think I've already talked about this trust thing. It's so self-dependent, self-reliant that it's hard to trust somebody.
Yes.
Um, that's based on a personal view of the world.
Mm.
Um, I think a lot of I think there's owners that get there variously, ranging from I'm totally completely fried, I want out, and they're like just irrational, emotional, um, and it's hard to you got to break through and give them sometimes some pretty tough advice about what their options are,
Yes.
but get work through the emotions um, of panic, of fear, of whatever it
Mm.
is. At the other end of there's owners that can't that know deep down what's life going to be like without my business,
Yes.
which is deeply fascinating. Um,
Mm.
and that extends to if you've been in business for a long time, what will I do with myself? And it's well and good I'm going to go play golf or walk the dog or go on holidays all the
Mm.
time, but it doesn't work for it's interesting. It doesn't work for a lot of owners. They need something
Mm.
more,
Yeah.
or it's very disruptive when they go back to the normal life, and they've so they're kind of and it's so you got to really dig down on put aside the business just for a moment.
Mm.
What do you want to do with your this is what do you want to do with your life
Mm.
while you've got the business when you don't have the business? And it's quite challenging and emotional and personal when you have those discussions to try to give some good business advice,
Yes.
because you need to understand what's going on in their head, or
Mm.
how they're viewing their next chapter, or their life after business, or life in a business that's stripped back, or is life in the business that's actually going to grow by buying some other businesses.
Yeah.
But you've got to nail down what they're wanting to do personally, and that's takes you got to it takes trust, and it takes an interest in their personal aspect, their person, as well as just being giving some advice on the value of the business, or how to respond to an offer.
Hmm. I find that sometimes the emotion for me just kind of clouds my vision so badly. And again, bless my advisor. He always just be like, Trace, just take it one step at a time or just step away for a bit. So I love Ember Bathhouse because it's an hour and a half of just chill out and think about, well, I still think a lot, but it's just no phone, no
Yeah.
distraction. What is your advice for business owners when they are in, I like to say in the jar, can't see the label and they're flooded by that emotion? What do you recommend that they do there?
I think they've got to work out who they want to take some advice from. We all need it. It's offered freely and wantingly from a lot of different places. So knowing what advice not to take is really
True.
well-meaning, well intended, but so you got to be really careful and choosy about who you take it from because you can get very confused.
Totally.
People in your family saying you should do this,
Yes.
and then someone else saying, well, you can make this business bigger, and then the accountant or somebody else or the lawyer says this or so
Hmm.
you can spin around, you get spun around. So I think
Completely.
there's no question, and there are different forums for doing this. You can get involved in. It could be some people you go play golf with,
Yeah.
other business owners. It could be an accountant that is, does your compliance stuff, but also
Hmm.
really deeply understands what you want to do. And so, or it could be a coach, like you're talking about your, coach, or it
Yeah.
could be
Hmm.
an advisory board. But we've got to get some external perspective, but the right one, and you've got to choose that. And if you go through a few to get to one good one or a few good ones, that's personal development, as we were talking
Hmm.
about.
And Michael, what do you define as a successful exit from your business?
Look, if I had to put it's when it's finished, you're happy.
Hmm.
Um, if you it might be a good financial exit, it might be the kind of it might be a really bad financial exit, and you're going to be left with uh, you know, a trail of, oh, I should have done this or I should have done that. So look, a lot of how I think about this is, if you can adapt to life after a business, you get enough or you get what was available at the time, and you can go on and be engaged and happy in doing whatever is in the next chapter. That's a good exit. Um, for me, it's yeah, we're it's owners do struggle without businesses, and they can have
Yeah.
it can be quite disruptive. Others will regret selling because they didn't get enough, they didn't put some time into exit planning. But all this, it's hard to let go of a business. Um, you've got to be really careful about when and how you do it. And
Yes.
sometimes the real true measure is when you have done that, you're satisfied, happy with what's in front of you.
Do you find most business owners who do exit actually feel fulfilled or happy? Because I find, like, I'm just thinking of myself, my business is so ingrained in my identity at this point in my
Mm.
life. And I
Yeah,
have been asked, Trace, what would you do, if I ever, sold Design Studio Perth? And I'm like, oh, I'd probably just, invest more time in my podcast. I'm kind of bouncing from one business to the next.
yeah.
Do you find most of them I feel fulfilled when they exit, or do they get lost?
Look, I've had both. I don't know that there's any pattern. I've had
Hmm.
people go all the way to the line and learnt this a few times. I had to learn this. The owner would change their mind. They'd say it's not enough money, and dig down. And it was they couldn't imagine life.
I see.
They were so ingrained, and I'm not saying it's good, bad, but that's how they were thinking.
Hmm.
And um, so yeah, it is totally it's hard to say. I think a lot of but a lot the worst thing is is not to be conscious about what you want to do with your business, and therefore um, have some plan,
Hmm. Of course.
because the older you get, the more probability there is that something outside of your control will impact you and your business. So
True.
when you you can just barrel on, and and if it all goes pear-shaped, you can recover.
Mm,
Um,
mm.
when the older you get, the more you need to be conscious about, and it can be, I'm just gonna stay here and see what happens.
Yeah.
And if that's your choice, great. Um, but the best professional advice is to have a sense of what your plan is, and that's, oh, if I had to sell tomorrow, I could sell.
Yeah.
B, this is probably what it's worth, and C, this is how long it might take me. So that's a mandatory thing to have you should have in your back pocket.
Mm.
So that you can call on, life throws up different challenges. You go, well, maybe it's time to do something different.
Yes.
And too many owners just aren't conscious about it, and things happen to them
Yeah.
outside of their control. It's pretty traumatic for them, really traumatic.
Mm.
Sometimes
Definitely.
sometimes it can be actually, uh, there's a lot more activity offline where businesses are being approached.
Mm.
And so the owner might not be thinking about anything. This is some of the work, often I do, not thinking about selling, and it's a bigger competitor or a staff come along, and then it sort of triggers, oh, maybe I should think about this.
Right.
Maybe this will be the better opportunity I'm ever
Mm.
going to have. So and that turns out well, or can turn out well.
Mm. And I guess you'd guide them through that process, right? So if they kind of weren't expecting it or they're not sure or whether they should pass.
Yeah, don't just sign an NDA and send off a whole lot
No.
of information.
Yeah. Great advice.
Yeah. It,
Uh, Michael, I'd love to know in your 23 years of being a business owner, what are you most proud of?
uh, oh, look, there's some really, I've had some really positive experiences where I've genuinely helped owners. Um, there's many of those. Um, Sometimes often it's just it's like a when you're involved in this, there's a lot of transactions over the
Mm.
years,
Yes.
and they, but you bump into people, or they leave you, a testimonial. So they're the things where some of them, I guess some of them come back and say, a friend of mine's got to need some help, and that's the
Hmm.
highest order. But hopefully the next few years are focused on building out the podcast as another way to
Yes.
share more of the good stuff, and some of the maybe some more of the articles and education, which I'm really keen to get down and get out. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you and I are very close aligned in that, and they want to create that those conversations and that education around the realities of having a business. I used to get so frustrated. Well, whilst business is so rewarding, you see on Instagram and social media people in their pool on the holidays, and that is part of it. But there's like the other side is pretty full on, can be quite traumatic as well.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of um, it's a lot of pressure on,
Mm,
because you see some of this stuff is so visible at 10x this, and all you got to
yeah.
do is one, two, three, and bada bing, bada boom,
Yeah,
you're away,
completely. Mm,
and they're extremely good at getting their message out, but it's
yeah.
a lot, yeah, it's some of the factors that just, you see owners leap at this thing because they know they need to do something, and they go,
Yes.
oh, there's a guru, or there's a course, or there's whatever, and it, there's a lot of them that don't have a lot of, I don't know, it's a lot of substance.
So true. Mm.
Some of them do, but and I'm a big reader, subscriber, course attender for these things, and
Mm.
there's some unbelievably good stuff. But it is
Yeah.
a bit like, no, just choose, choose the stuff you want wisely. Don't believe everything. Don't believe the
No.
hype.
No,
The
100%.
the 10x. And if you want to be 10x, great. If you want to be one and a
Mm.
half x, that's also pretty cool.
Yeah, precisely. Mike, I'd love to know from podcaster to podcaster, what's been the most surprising part of hosting the Owner to Owner podcast?
It's um it's a willingness of, there's a demand out there for people to talk about what they do and how they do it. Like, or there's a
Mm.
body, and it's really the uh, there's a lot of people willing to share their experiences and want to share
Yeah.
them. And
Mm.
I think it's like you give them a voice or a platform to talk about something that they're really good at. So
Mm.
and I'm amazed at the experiences all these um, business owners have. If you look
Yes.
beyond what they've got today, it's like we're constant. I always go back to their personal stuff. Well, because you made jewelry.
Yes, as well. Yeah, I still design. I don't make
So,
anymore. I studied, but
yeah,
yes, yeah.
and I like there's everyone's got such a, there's really fun, interesting things, and you can see
Mm.
them as a HR professional or a finance person or whatever. That's the fun bit,
Mm.
and they don't. Yeah. So and this willingness to come on and talk, because there's a lot of podcasting is so strong. You
Yes,
could you could probably have 3 interviews a day if you
we could.
wanted, and there are
Totally.
and there are people that, it's like the independent record labels that push all the independent music, and there's a
Mm.
lot of owners out there who are just pretty humble and do their thing. But it's
Yes,
fascinating. It's great.
yes.
Like that. It's real. Yeah. So that's the stuff I really get. I love that.
I agree with you. I've really just fallen in love with it. I probably love it a bit too much, to be honest, but it's just I
I
think
know
it's
that
just that,
feeling. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, right? It's
Yeah.
just someone comes in the show and yes, they have a bit of a background about them, and then they just kind of open up, and it's just that human resilience and just that thing of being human. I absolutely love it, and the fact that someone trusts me to come on like yourself, come into the show, allow me to hold space for you to share your story. I just think it's fabulous. So,
Yeah. It is. It really is.
mm,
And it's independent and it's accessible, and it's yeah, there's a lot to like about it, and a lot of podcasts to choose from, but it's a similar story. They get, the charts
yeah.
get dominated by the ones that get pumped, and you got to look kind of below the surface a little bit, and there's so many good
Hmm.
podcasts on topics of
Definitely. Well, not for
interest.
long, Michael. Yours and mine are going to be right up there.
Yeah, we'll create our own independent small business
Completely.
chart. Yeah,
Yes, yes. Move over Joe Rogan
completely,
and Diary of a CEO.
completely unbiased, but yeah, it's a
Yes.
bit like, yeah, hot dog business. We created the Food Truck Hall of Fame and voted ourselves the
Ah,
inaugural inductees and got
no.
T-shirts printed. Make your own
Nice,
awards.
nice.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's branding for you.
yeah.
Michael, if a business owner listening right now is burnt out, what's the first thing you want them to hear?
Reach out to somebody that you think is, have an initial discussion. Have 2 initial discussions. You're not alone.
Yeah.
So that way they can, I guess, just that little baby step. So
Mm.
don't bottle it up.
Yeah. Great
So
advice.
get out there, ask somebody that you think is capable of giving you some positive. No, it doesn't have to be positive. It just has to be a step forward. Yeah.
Mm.
Don't
Mm.
keep it in.
And I guess some of the telltale signs that someone is burnt out,
Mm.
in your experience, what are they? I've had a lady say she was crying that her body wash wasn't, in Coles. I think that's a
It's a,
sign.
yeah. Well, it's probably the little things become the big things. Maybe.
Mm.
Um, yeah. There's you, if you're not behaving like you would expect yourself to be behaving,
Mm.
um, you're having a crack at people or family, or you just you know if it's if you're really, it's okay to say, like, uh, I think you will know, just got to do
Yes.
something about it. That's a little baby step, and not going to get everything solved in one call or
Mm-mm.
tomorrow, but it's a start, right? Because you can't do it all on your own.
No.
I think that's as simple as it can be. If you want to do something, take a little baby step.
Hmm. I have to share, after I ran the marathon last Sunday, I think it kind of really brought me to a stop last week. And I was like, oh, I think I've maybe overdone it just a little bit. And yeah, so I kind of just had to, I think I was close to burnout, I'll be honest.
Yeah,
So yeah, just kind of, I guess, receded a bit, went to Ember Bathhouse, had my hour and a half of Zen. And yeah, I guess it's just knowing when to kind of pull back and then kind of go at it again, right? But because I mean, I love to go, go, go all the time. But
yeah.
yeah, last week I was like, Tracy, you just need to really take it easy. And I think it literally took that marathon to make me stop in some
Which
bizarre way,
which
if that
is
makes any sense.
pretty wild. Yeah, like I'm going to go run
Sorry,
four.
overshare.
No, 4 times around Rottnest Island as a way
Yeah,
to recuperate. Yeah,
absolute
anyway,
nutter.
but that's your thing. So there,
Yeah.
and everyone's got. I'd like to think everyone's got something that is their kind of happy place or their
Mm.
escape or something. So whether it's walking the dog or God, whatever it can be a million things. But if you're not doing that, it's
Mm.
probably that so we do know, everyone knows,
Yeah.
and it's
You
just
realize that when you're reaching that point, I
yeah,
guess, right?
yeah.
Michael, what's one question you wish more people would ask you?
Uh, Me personally, look, I just I'd like people to say, I'm unsure about what to do. What do you reckon?
Mm.
And it's not because, oh, it's in the context of the work I do with owners. So I'm not advising them on how to improve their golf game or how to,
Yeah.
it's like I just say, um, I'm not sure, and what do you think? Like, that's just be willing to get some other counsel.
Mm.
um, on it is. I had this fabulous interview a little while back, but the layers of support you can get for a small business is, it's very lonely, all those things, but there are forums and networking things, and there are
Yeah.
advisory boards, there are coaches, there's a lot of people that want to help, but you
Mm.
just so just ask.
And Michael, if you could go back 23 years ago to when you first started your business, what's
you know
one bit of advice you'd give yourself and why?
Prepare for the long haul.
Mm.
um and but stay, just make sure you're doing what you want to do, and
Mm.
be ready for the the long run. So I probably had different expectations about, because I went pretty blindly into the industry.
Mm.
in business broking. It's fine. Like it was,
Yeah.
so I probably didn't do enough. I'm incredibly happy I did, but it
Mm.
was, it certainly took some, I dived into a whole new industry really quickly, and I had relevant skills, but took longer um, than I'd planned to get, to really get it going. So,
Mm.
that would be, um, it's not about sort of doing so much due diligence that you say no to everything.
Yeah.
Just be, if you're in a, yeah, if you it's got to be, it's got to be really something that you can um, see yourself doing for a long time, and that's not a quick. You
Mm.
can't get there quickly. But
No.
um, yeah, I'd more more DD, as they say, about what I'm getting myself in for, and but yeah, it's um, and and just be, I always think I was ready to go because it was a pretty stark, there were good opportunities at the time to
Mm.
do something, do other things, um, and but I was pretty committed to my own thing, even though I wasn't, overly clear and didn't, about
Sure.
exactly what that looked like, but that's the
Mm.
journey you go on.
And do you feel business has changed you?
Uh, no, I think it's actually, I think, I feel like, it's where I should be.
Mm.
And being in my own business, like you're always in business as an employee if you
Yeah.
kind of, if you want to be successful and achieve. But no, I feel more like this is, a, increasingly like it's, where I can say, this is what I think,
Mm.
and this is how I would do it. And so it's kind of affirm. It's more like what I've got the flexibility to do things. I love that. I go,
Mm.
we'll cut out and go on a trip, take my laptop,
Yes.
go play golf, whatever it is. Still
Mm.
do what I need to do, but it's yeah, it's definitely more suits my personality much better than being in a job.
Mm.
I wouldn't get a job anyway.
Oh, same. Definitely not. Michael, thank you so much for all you've shared today. Gabe spoke so highly of you, and I thought I have to have this wonderful person on my show. I have the utmost respect for 23 years of business. Design Studio Perth will be 5 next month. So I think it's an incredible journey. And thank you so much for sharing part of that with us.
Oh, well, thank you, Tracy. Good on you for like your 5 years of big milestone. Yeah, and Gabe and
Thank
the team
you.
over at Adapt are doing incredible work with small business as well. So
Mm.
it's good of him to connect us.
Yes, definitely. Michael, where's the best place for our listeners to go should they wish to connect with you?
The website kerrcapital.com.au,
Mm.
or I can be found on LinkedIn, Michael Kerr, Kerr.
Wonderful. We'll be sure to pop all the links in the show notes as well. Michael, thank you so much.
Thanks, Tracy. Go well.